Hi Halloweenies, I'm Ozzy the Horror Cub. Take a trip with me to Haddonfield because it's time to review Halloween Kills. Let's get into it. Halloween Kills is finally here, and oh my god, you guys, it blew my mind. Directed by David Gordon Green, this is the immediate follow-up to his Halloween 2018 movie. This film sees Laurie Strode and family thinking that they defeated the Shape, burning him alive in the basement. However, unlucky firefighters are about to come and resurrect Michael Myers. This time around though, the town of Haddonfield adopts a mob mentality. From past survivors of the 1978 original massacre, to characters that we were later introduced to in Halloween 2018, everything comes together in a combination of violence and brutality. This is perhaps the most brutal Halloween movie since Rob Zombie's Halloween. This film is balls to the walls crazy. From start to finish, it is a thrill ride. Immediately, the second that we open, we're back in 2018. We follow Cameron as he discovers Officer Hawkins. He's just been knifed by Sartain in the throat. So throughout this film, we're going to keep going back between 2018, which is the main timeline, and 1978. As Cameron saves Hawkins, we get our first flashback to 1978, and it was everything that I thought it was going to be. The tone, the lighting, everything was there. It was that beautiful ambient blue lighting from 1978. Everything was back. The mask was incredible. It looked like Nick Castle. The walk, everything that they tried to do with this film was absolutely amazing. And if you say otherwise, you're crazy, because the level of detail and commitment that went into making this film is astounding. This 1978 flashback, giving us Lonnie Elam, giving us his story of what happened when he encountered the Shape, but also giving us Hawkins' story and how he was the one that apprehended Michael and how he was the one that killed his partner as Michael tried to kill him in the Meyer house. It's later on revealed that Dr. Loomis was also going to try and shoot him in the head, and the fact that we get Dr. Loomis back, I mean guys, we haven't had Dr. Loomis in a Halloween movie since Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I thought it was astounding. It looked like him. I mean, the CGI was a little bit wonky in one place when he was standing on the staircase. You know what? It was Dr. Loomis in a Halloween movie. It's about to blow Michael's head off, but Hawkins stops him because he's thinking this is someone's kid. So there's sympathy going on towards the Michael character, and let me tell you something, sympathy towards Michael, I don't know why I think this, and you guys are going to think that I'm crazy, but at the end of the movie, and by the way, this is a spoiler review, I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to get into it hard. At the very end of this movie, when they are beating up Michael, and it's that whole mob scene, and they're just kicking the shit out of him, I felt really bad for Michael. I was like, Daddy Myers, get off the ground and kick their ass. I really did. Isn't that screwed up that we sympathize with the killer? And in this movie, it's kind of set up that way. You're following Michael as he goes back to his childhood home. And we're really trying to figure out in this film what drives Michael. There's also the question of what happens to a society when it's driven by fear, and what happens to a society when its police force doesn't take care of its citizens. And the police force in this movie is almost non-existent. The sheriff is basically still laughing and making jokes, sitting on that staircase as the mob is overruling him. Where were all the cops in this movie? But the cops do apprehend Michael. We do flash back to 1978. We were only there for a brief time, but it gave me all the feels in the world. It deepens the Hawkins character, and it deepens the Halloween 2018 mythology. This film is going to make you appreciate Halloween 2018 in an entirely different light, and it's really going to expand the story because this is the same night. The 1978 film, the attention to details though with the Meyer house, I mean, the second that the two cops walk in and they see the dead dog on the floor, which is a reference to Michael eating the dog in Halloween 78 when Dr. Loomis goes, he got hungry. I just thought it was hysterical. Even the music, the second we got back to 1978, it felt like the original 78 score was playing too, and that has everything to John Carpenter and his son and nephew coming back to this project, amping up the score from the original Halloween 2018. The second that we were presented with our new pumpkin opening, which is multiple pumpkins as they're burning on fire in this inferno, was amazing. The theme reminded me of 1992's Candyman. It's the classic Halloween theme, however this time around it's more gothic. In this haunting score, it really works for me. It really sets the atmosphere in this film that this is a darker incarnation of Michael Myers. He keeps transcending, as Laurie would say. And I was into it. I'm here for the essence of evil in this movie. John Carpenter really did a great job with this score. I'm so into it. It's reminiscent to me of 1992's Candyman in the way that it felt with its main theme, and I was here for it. It just gave me classic slasher vibes. It was back to 1978, it respected the tone of Carpenter's work, it added to the mythology without taking anything away. Now we're back in Halloween 2018, and we're with our survivors of the Halloween 1978 massacre. We're with Marion, we're with Tommy, we're with Lindsay, we're with Lonnie, and they're at a bar and they're celebrating, and we get to see the two characters from 2018 who are the nurse and the doctor. They are all here celebrating Halloween and celebrating the fact that they are the survivors of the original 1978 babysitter murders. But it's at this point that they discover too that Michael Myers is still alive in the town. I really do appreciate though, as Tommy is giving his spiel about the boogeyman, he gives a toast, and Anthony C. Hall really does a great job of Tommy in this film. This is a bold interpretation of Tommy. That little boy from 1978 is all grown up and he's all man right now. He needs to think a little bit more before he heads into a situation because he's a little bit too cocky in how he handles himself, but I think it was a great interpretation of the character. It was really different than how Paul Rudd interpreted the character in part 6, where he was more of like the social outcast. Tommy is rallying the town behind him to go after Michael, but I love the fact that he gives a toast and he's like, and here's to Laurie wherever she may be, and then it cuts to Laurie bleeding out in the truck as the events of Halloween 2018, the ending, had just played out with them trapping Michael in the basement. She sees the fire truck, she's screaming, "Let it burn!" We don't know if Michael has survived or not. She doesn't know either. She's about to go under for an operation. Meanwhile, the firefighters are breaking Michael out unexpectedly. Michael hid in Laurie's gun closet, kills the firefighters in this epic massacre, and the kills in this movie, brutal and outstanding because not every single kill is done with a knife and not every kill is done the exact same way. Michael is tearing people's heads off. Knives are going through eyes, knives are going through armpits, heads are just being squished in. Michael is absolutely eviscerating the town of Haddonfield in so many different ways that I thought were so clever. James Jude Courtney does a great job as Michael Myers. I was really concerned too because in the trailers for this film, we have that whole unmasking of Michael Myers scene that Laurie was like, you gotta take his mask off so we can see the light leave his eyes. And it's kind of like, well, how is this gonna play out and how much are they gonna show of Michael's face? And I was surprised that David Gordon Green kept Michael hidden in the shadows even without the mask, which I thought was so respectful of the character of the boogeyman. And Michael really does survive a shitload of different things that happen to him in this film. But the second that he gets out of Laurie Strode's basement, he heads to the house of the graveyard woman. And this is where we get to see a really cool kill because Michael kills this couple absolutely brutally. Fluorescent light bulb to the throat, and then he just starts stabbing the husband repeatedly. Like the husband is dead, laying on the island, and Michael is just pissed. And he just keeps taking knife after knife off of the knife block and just keeps going into this guy. And I think that shows you Michael's brutality. This is a scary interpretation of Michael. This is the shape, this is pure evil. How is he still going? How is he still surviving? I love that he bandaged himself up after Laurie shot him too. So you do see that he is still human, but there is something more to him. Now, as the chaos is all unfolding, we have another runaway patient from Smithsgrove that's still loose in Haddonfield. The police force is absolutely nowhere to be seen. Was that Mr. Trivoli from Halloween 2018 who has the fascination with shoelaces? Oh my god, I feel so bad for him. He's being mistaken as Michael Myers throughout the 2 acts in this movie, and the town is chasing him thinking that he is Michael, whether that be through a car crash or through the hospital sequence. And this is where we really get the question of how society functions with fear, because you have people that are acting like sheep. As Tommy is rallying everybody saying that evil dies tonight and they have to go after Michael, this town has no idea who they're even going after, and Laurie is shouting after them because she's woken up for this surgery. She's heard that Michael is still alive. Tommy came to the hospital because Michael has attacked Marion and Lindsay. This is an epic scene where Lindsay is attacked. Lindsay fights back the best that she can. Kyle Richards does an amazing job coming back to this role. The second that she drops that pillowcase and she starts beating Michael with that bag of bricks, I was like, girl, what you doing with that pillowcase? But she slams him good, and then there's this great sequence where she's trying to run and hide in a creek, and you're like, oh my god, is she gonna survive? Is she gonna make it out of this? I'm excited that she does survive because this means that we're gonna get to see her character in Halloween Ends. However, Marion, girl, you didn't get your time to shine. You locked those people in that car and you let them for death. I love when she points the gun at Michael though and she goes, this is for Dr. Loomis, and the gun doesn't fire, but Michael does this like iconic head tilt. It was everything to me. And him decorating his victims with the Season of the Witch masks. I mean, come on. Getting those nods to Halloween 3, that's what I love loved about this movie is that we were still getting the references to the other Halloween movies. However, it wasn't as shoved down our throats as it was in Halloween 2018. This was done way more respectfully. We're reintroduced to the Meyer house, and it's owned by this gay couple, and let me tell you something about these two queens. Little John and Big John made this movie for me. They are my two absolute favorite characters. I love that we finally got to see openly gay couple in a Halloween movie. I love that it was Stuart from Mad TV. I thought that was hysterical. I couldn't get that out of my head. I'm like, oh my god, Stuart from Mad TV is in a Halloween movie. And the way that they did the Meyer house was super cute. Like, I'd want to live there too. And when they died, I was like, oh, it was so sad. But the way that they're scaring the kids, because we're introduced to these three little shits, and I'm so glad that one of them ends up dead. They're trying to prank Little John and Big John, and I just think those names are just so adorable as well. They're pranking him with a razor blade in the mouth, which is such a great callback to Halloween 2. And the Halloween 2 references were here. I mean, we're back in Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. Even the paramedics, their jackets, they had the exact same logos from Halloween 2, Rick Rosenthal's 1981 movie. So I really appreciated those Easter eggs. The kids have been pulling pranks all night, and they pull a prank at the Meyer house earlier. And this is where one of the funniest scenes happen, because Big John and Little John just slay me. They are this iconic couple. They just want to smoke pot, enjoy their Halloween, listen to some records, eat some charcuterie. They're being bothered by these kids and being harassed by Michael Myers later on in the film. And Little John looks at one of the kids and he goes, "Don't you know whose house this is?" He stabbed her in the tits. I just thought the comedy was hysterical. The comedy wasn't the same as in 2018. It's not the I got peanut butter on my penis type of jokes, but the comedy was there, and it was funny, but it wasn't there to alleviate the situation. It was more cleverly thought out. I did appreciate the humor in this movie, but even when Michael Myers was killing people, I thought it was hysterical. Like Michael, when he kills Cameron at the end of this movie, and he's smashing his head up and down the staircase, I thought it was hysterical because I'm here for it. I want to see Michael and his brutality and how amped up he is. We're then back at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, and we're given the question of fear, and what does fear do to us as a society? And this is where things turn to absolute chaos in the film, and everything just goes to hell, because Tommy comes in and he tells Laurie that Michael has survived the fire, that he has just taken down Marion, that he's attacked Lindsay, and that he's coming here to the hospital, but he's gonna protect her. I thought that scene was incredibly sweet between the two of them, that he looks at her and he goes, "You protected me 40 years ago, I'm gonna protect you tonight." And Tommy is raising up a mob to take down Michael, and he really is rallying up the town of Haddonfield, that he's making them angry. And the angrier they get, the more some of them become sheep, unfortunately. And this is where an accident happens in the hospital, because that lunatic that escaped earlier from the mental institution, Mr. Trivoli, he's running throughout the hospital, and he's scared, and Tommy has convinced everybody that that's Michael Myers and that they need to go after him. And Karen Strode gets this amazing moment. This is where Judy Greer really starts to shine in this film. I love that we get some time with her character because she is a child psychologist, and she gets to work with this mental patient, and she tries to help him, but the mob overtakes them. The mob takes this person down. He's forced into committing suicide. It's really tragic to see what people will do in these kind of circumstances and who these types of people will become. Will you become brave? Will you become a sheep? Will you be thinking with your head first, or will this be more like a Ted Hollister type of thing from Halloween 4? It's very much that. This is like Halloween 4, but amped up to the next level. And it asks a lot of interesting questions. Laurie Strode in this film is very much sidelined. You really get the time to start expanding on Karen's character, as well as Amy Matichak as Allison. Allison is not going to take it in this film. She's just lost her dad, and that's what's really driving her throughout this film, to take down Michael, to join Cameron, and to join Lonnie Lamb as they try and fight Michael and try and figure out what Michael's plan is. And they've discovered that Michael's going back to the Myers house, so that's where they're going. Karen is furious that this is all happening, and Karen is really losing grip on the situation because she's put so much of her trust into law enforcement, and Laurie's basically telling her the law has crumbled at this point. It's like Mob Rules, and that was the original working title for this film, was Mob Rules, but it really is that sense that Karen's world is absolutely crumbling. She is mad at Laurie in a sense too, because with all the preparation, Ray still died, and you can see when she's washing her hands and she's clutching the wedding ring, there's so much remorse to her. You're really getting more depth with the character, and that's what I wanted from 2018, and losing Ray really did give her that feel. And I love that she still says gotcha in this film. She is an incredible actress, Judy Greer, and I wish we get to see more of her. I don't know in Halloween Ends if we do get to see more of her in flashback sequences or not, but I really hope we do get to utilize more sequences with her, because I'm not ready to say goodbye just yet. Allison and Cameron have a great dynamic this time around in the film. They are hunting down the shape with Lonnie. I really love the character choices in this movie. It really felt like everything had to happen at a certain point, and everything was being driven to the Meyer house, and I love that because 2018 felt a little wonky to me and mishmashed. Everything in this film was gathering to the end, and that epic showdown between the townspeople and Michael, and I incredibly loved how it played out at the Meyer house. Laurie is sidelined. Jamie Lee Curtis, though, does her best, giving her like thespian lines as to what she considers Michael Myers to be the essence of evil. I was into it. I mean, she's stabbed in the gut. The second she's brought into the hospital, I was given such Halloween 2 vibes with Scout Taylor Compton being brought in. Am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? I just felt that vibe. She never said any of those words, but she was so calm, cool, collected about the whole thing. They show Laurie throw it under the knife, and I'm like, god damn, okay. And because she does have that knife in the gut, she is hindered. And I wonder if that's why David Gordon Green changed the ending of this movie, because originally this was all supposed to take place on the same night. All 3 movies, all one night. She was supposed to walk out of the hospital saying, I'm coming for you, Michael. That scene that's in the trailer, I'm coming for you, Michael, got eliminated from the movie, but it's going to be on an extended director's cut when it comes to DVD, so we're going to get to see that ending. But David Gordon Green changed it because originally this film was supposed to take place immediately after, where Halloween Ends was going to take place the same night. Now he's saying it's going to be a 4-year gap. 4 years is a lot of time for a lot of different shenanigans to go down, but we're now going to be set in present day with the story. It's interesting that they're doing that, but I would love to have seen the original route for Halloween Ends taking place that night. I get why he changed it, because you're really hindered at the end of this movie, because number 1, Laurie is stabbed in the gut and she doesn't do much in this movie. And then number 2, Allison, your new final girl, as brave as she is later on in the film, she gets taken out with her leg. So she's going to be immobile for the rest of the Halloween night. So you need to get these characters, warriors as they are, to come back together, to recoup, regroup, and come up with a plan. And I guess it's going to take place 4 years later. So Halloween Ends is going to be really interesting because you're going to have Lindsay Wallace, you're still going to have Laurie, you're still going to have Allison. You're not going to have the support of the town, I don't think. I think Michael Myers is going to be amplified to boogeyman status because every time he kills, he transcends. Not in the way that he becomes the boogeyman supernaturally, but to the town metaphorically, he's becoming the boogeyman because he's this person that they just can't take down. It's a really interesting concept of what is evil and what does evil do to us and how does it scare us and how does it motivate us and how does it drive us. This movie asks a lot of different questions, and it even asks the question, are you safe with your own local police force? Should you take vigilante justice into your own hands? But these were people that were oppressed for so long that they felt the need to do that, and they uprise against Michael at the end of this film. And it all culminates at the Meyer house. Lonnie has come up with a plan that they're going to go there. The gay couple has been killed off, unfortunately. Allison is in tow with Cameron, but Lonnie tells them to chill in the car, which is like, okay, why are you doing that? But the second they get into the house and everything is lit with that beautiful blue ambient lighting, and Michael has hidden the pumpkin in the closet, Michael is going out of his way to play cat and mouse with the people. There's a lot of great suspense, especially when he starts taking down Cameron. Cameron's kill is absolutely brutal. I was here for it. I really do wish we could have seen Lonnie's kill. Maybe we're going to get to see that in Halloween Ends. We can flash back to it or something, because I really do think you picked a great actor to play Lonnie. He had a lot of great gravitas to him, and I would have loved to have seen more. I love that him and Tommy were friends in this universe of the Halloween canon, because he was Tommy's bully in 1978, but I really do feel like we got cheated out of his death scene. Michael coming out of the closet and attacking him was absolutely great. Allison trying to fire the gun, missing, and then just stabbing Michael repeatedly until he throws her down the stairs. And to show how sick and twisted Michael is, he just had to go and snap Cameron's neck. I absolutely loved it. And I absolutely loved earlier in the film too that you get to see Oscar coming back for a surprise cameo in the morgue with his mother uncovering the dead body of her son. Like, I love that everything that happened in 2018 was still happening in this film. Like, everything, the repercussions that happened in 2018 are still playing out, and obviously it's the same night. It's very much Rick Rosenthal's Halloween 2 in that regard. However, like, all my expectations were subverted because I actually did think Will we get to the hospital? Will Michael go to the hospital? And that's what Karen's trying to say the entire time, that he's coming to the hospital. Michael's coming here to take down Laurie. That's why we need a police force, and she's being a total Karen with everybody about it. But it's Hawkins who comes to after surgery, and he's like, no, it was Sartain that was conducting this whole social experiment between Michael and Laurie, trying to get them both together. Michael was just on his path back to going home. So this is crazy, but it really does divulge what Michael's true intentions are. 6-year-old boy wanting to go back home. Frank and Laurie get a lot of great scenes in this. There's a lot of great connections that you can do now moving into Halloween Ends with these two characters, because there was a lust between them earlier on in their lives, and they had this romantic fling at a bar. Really do wish we get to expand on this story moving into Halloween Ends. Maybe they're together raising Allison. I don't know where they're gonna take it, but I do think that that's where they could go with it. I was just feeling the love vibes, and I'm totally here for it. And let's give Laurie Strode a happy ending maybe, but she might have to go down with Michael, because she even kept saying herself that maybe he won't die unless she's dead too. So I thought that was really interesting. I do think that that's what they're setting up for in Halloween Ends. I do think that it's going to be Laurie and Michael going down in flames at the Meyer house. That's the way I see it going. Just her clutched with him in the Myers house as the house is burning down on Halloween night. I guess now 4 years later, because we got to take it there, because everyone is stabbed, everyone is injured, people need time to heal. Now we think Allison is going to be taken out at this point, and she's like, do it! And she is serving us fierce final girl realness. She's got her busted knee, she can't really walk, and this is where Karen just steps up her game, pitchforks Michael in the back, curb stomps him, steals his mask. We get to see an unmasked Michael Myers, but it's done in the most respectful way with David Gordon Green, lighting him from afar. Loved how they did it. And then you get to see Michael being lured into a trap as the townspeople of Haddonfield surround him, and he takes his mask, puts it on as all the people gather around him, and I've never seen this with Michael Myers, but this is the town surrounding him and just kicking the shit out of him. Sheriff Brackett is back, and he's a security guard at the hospital, and he's just trying to get justice for his poor daughter Annie. And I love that we were getting references to the 1978 characters that gave me total life, even seeing Linda's picture at the bar and having Sheriff Brackett talk about Annie. Yes for that, yes for bringing Charles Cypher back, yes for bringing all these original characters from 78 back and exploring their trauma. They really thought they were getting their revenge against Michael, and they're just beating the hell out of him. And you know, like, iconic lines are said back from 1978, like everyone's entitled to one good scare. They're shooting him, they're stabbing him. Karen gets in a swing. Michael is down on the ground, and you're thinking that this is it. Karen heads back to the Meyer house to try and be with Allison for a quick second, and that's when Michael just gets up and kicks the shit out of everybody, kills the entire town that mobbed against him, and then kills Tommy Doyle. It was utterly crazy. Karen sees a young boy in the Meyer house, and it's a reflection of Myers from when he was 6 years old, so it's like, well, what's happening here? So she goes, stands in the bedroom, breathes in thinking that this is all over. Michael comes up from behind her and just starts stabbing her, which is so reminiscent of how he killed Judith back in 1963. It plays out almost identically as it's cross-faded with Laurie looking out over the hospital window. Loved this ending. It was a total shocker. Couldn't believe what they did. I jumped out of my seat. This whole movie was a total thrill ride for me. It has to be a 9 out of 10. It's a damn near perfect Halloween movie. Were there flaws every now and then? Okay, yes, maybe. Were there script problems every now and then? Okay, yes, maybe. But let me tell you something. This Halloween movie gave you everything. It was one night of unruly hell. Michael was vicious. Michael was pure carnage. It gave you everything. The cinematography was there. The score, John Carpenter's beautiful score, was there. The acting was all intense. Everybody was totally committed to this script. The flashback sequences, everything was paid attention to, whether it be detail with the mask, details with going back to the Meyer house. What Halloween movie did we get to go back to the Meyer house and it looked this perfect? I mean, come on. Everything in this movie was fan service to us. And if you don't like that, well, I don't know what's going to please you. You're never going to get Michael being that classic 1978 stalker again, because modern horror audiences just aren't into that. I wish that we could go back down that road, and that's what would give this movie a 10 out of 10 in my mind. If we could go back to Michael Myers being the shape again, like being in the shadows, that's what I would absolutely love, because I do want to see him more being the stalker killer. I do want to see him watching babysitters from afar, but they had to show Michael being absolutely pissed and just seeking vengeance. And that's what Michael does in this movie. He takes it out on everybody in this town. Everybody is just eviscerated. The fire department's eviscerated. the mob's eviscerated, poor Karen's eviscerated. How will this play out in Halloween Ends with this 4-year time jump? I have no idea. I'm gonna have to do a speculation video on where I think they can go from here. I can't do my franchise ranking yet in terms of where I think that this movie falls. I can tell you right now, just because I have to see this movie another time, I have to see it to appreciate everything that happened. My jaw was literally just on the floor the entire time. I was in pure enjoyment. This was like Christmas morning for me. It was everything to get this movie, because this is, I think, what I wanted the 2018 movie to be. The 2018 movie, don't get me wrong, I love the character development that they had, but if they could have squeezed this into the same movie, if this could have just been one colossal movie, it would have been the best Halloween film. But because Halloween 2018 ended so anticlimactically, and this film, some will say that it's anticlimactic too, and it is in a sense anticlimactic in the way that it just feels abrupt. It ends very abruptly. The title card comes up just like it did in 2018, and you're like, there's so much more to this story, guys. Like, you didn't close it, but you kept me intrigued, you kept me on board. I'm here for Halloween Ends. It's gonna come out next year. I'm here to watch Halloween Kills again. I'm gonna have to watch it multiple times before I can put it into my franchise ranking, but I will tell you that this is ranking high, guys. This is ranking super, super duper high. I was absolutely blown away. I was blown away that we got Dr. Loomis. I was blown away at the score. I think Halloween Ends is gonna be a perfect Halloween film because it's gonna take Jamie Lee Curtis to the next level with the character, and I wanna see that play out. I wanna see one last final confrontation between the characters, and then I wanna see where they're gonna go with the franchise from there. Could we get a Halloween 3 spin-off, Season of the Witch? I could be here for it. What did you guys think about Halloween Kills? For me, it was an absolute bloody thrill ride. I was here for the gruesomeness of it all. I was utterly shocked at times. My mouth was on the floor. Was yours? What did you think about Halloween Kills? Let me know down below. How would you rate this movie? Until next time, stay spooky.